Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IoT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 17. I have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have a script that we will use to migrate the DHCP. This script is designed to export the DHCP configuration from the old DHCP server, then import the DHCP configuration to the new DHCP server, and then demote the old DHCP server. All of this is done using one script. We have discussed in this diagram, or this diagram illustrates that this server, or the old DHCP server, we migrated from this server, which has Windows Server 2012 R2 installed on it, to this server, which is Windows Server 2022 data center. So we will migrate the DHCP from this server to this server, as we can see here. So both are using VirtualBox as their hypervisor, or they are virtual machines in the VirtualBox 7 software. Okay, so we will migrate the DHCP from this old server to this new server. Okay, we have discussed the DHCP script, or the DHCP migration script theoretically. Today we will discuss how this will be implemented practically. So let's, without hesitation, begin our video. Here you go. This is it. First, we need to open the hypervisor, which is VirtualBox or Oracle VM VirtualBox version 7. And then, as we can see here, this is the primary domain controller, this is the additional domain controller, and at the same time it is the old DHCP server. This is a normal server. We don't have any roles installed on it. We will migrate the old DHCP server from here to there using the script that we have discussed in the previous video. Okay, so now this is our primary domain controller. Its operating system is Windows Server 2022 data center. This is the DHCP server, okay, and it has Windows Server 2012 R2 installed on it, and the new server, which doesn't have any roles installed on it, and the operating system on it is Windows Server 2022 data center. So we will run the migration script from here, okay, or from this new server. Before that, we need to take a snapshot, okay, before, or name it before DHCP migration. So if anything happened, we can return back this snapshot or restore this snapshot. Okay, so we will take 3 snapshots on the 3 virtual machines. Okay, this is a precaution, okay, because if anything happened, we can return back. You can take 1 snapshot or 3 snapshots. I prefer to take 3 snapshots just to make all of the virtual machines are on one line, or they have the same configuration. Okay, so we will name it the same name, and then we will take a snapshot on the primary domain controller. Now let's go to our new server and run the DHCP migration script on it. Okay, we will press Insert, Control, Alt, Delete, simulating as if we are pressing Insert, or simulating as we are pressing Control, Alt, Delete. Okay, now we need to put the domain admin account. By the way, you need to run the script using a high privilege account. Okay, here I'm using my domain admin account, because the user that will run the script should have privileges to make or to initialize a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. Anyway, there is a problem when I shut down this virtual machine, so it is querying me or telling me if there is any problem that led to this unregular or unexpected shutdown. I tell him this is a hang process. Anyway, so now we will open our new server, and our script, it is on the D partition of this new server. Okay, now we will open the D partition, and here is the script. Okay, we will run it, but every couple of lines, or we will not run it as a whole, we will run part by part. Okay, so now we will run the first part, these two lines, to initialize or to create a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server, and then sleep or wait for 20 seconds. Okay, so this is the first line. This will let us have a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. So now we can see from the pass, here we are currently on the server. Okay, so now we are on server DC0212, and we are on the C partition users care of documents. So now we are inside the server. Okay, now we need to create two folders. One is the main folder, DHCP, on the D partition on this server, and then a subfolder from DHCP called backup. Okay, we will run the two lines. These two folders will contain the configuration of the old DHCP server. Okay, or especially this server will contain, or this folder will contain the configuration of the old DHCP server. Now we will run the third line, which will export the configuration of the old DHCP server to the DHCP folder. So we will run, okay, this line, okay, and then run it, run the selection. It will take some time, and then we can see that we will see some blue lines, or some sky blue lines, that indicating what this PowerShell command is doing. We will see in a moment the process of exporting the DHCP server configuration. Here we can see that he is exporting the configuration to DHCP, DHCP data.xml, and it will begin verifying or begin listing what the configuration that is exported. Okay, you will see a couple of lines. Okay, just a moment, guys. As you see, guys, here every two lines I am putting a head or a title explaining what these two lines will do. First of all, create PowerShell remote session to the old DHCP server to export configuration, these two lines. The second, create folder to export DHCP configuration and the backup folder, these two lines, and then export DHCP configuration, this line. Okay, so let's see. Now we can see there is some lines here. You can see from here that it is exporting a lot of things. You can see here the details of the export process. Okay, it's exporting the scope, it is exporting the policies, the option values, the reservation for the scope if there is any reservation for the scope, the leases if there is any IP leased or IPs leased already to clients or servers. Everything, it's exporting everything, and then at the end we can see that the export configuration process is completed. So now we need to copy the folder, the DHCP and the subfolder, from the old server or to the new server. Okay, this is the new server that will be the new DHCP server. Okay, we will use the robocopy command to copy this folder to our new server, or this to our new server. This is this server. Okay, we will see that there is some statistics, okay, saying every file, if it is successfully copied or not, what is the time of the copying, okay, if there is any failed processes. So we can see here dirs or directories, files, the time, the speed, and the size of the files copied. Okay, this is a very detailed statistics about the folders copied and the files copied. Okay, So now we have the old configuration of the server copied to the new server. So we will see here, if we make a refresh, we will see that here is the DHCP folder copied already. Now we need to install the DHCP role on this server. First of all, we need to exit the remote PS session. Okay, this is the line, exit remote PowerShell session. We will exit it, okay, because we need to run PowerShell commands on this server, okay, not remotely on another server, okay. So this is the folder DHCP. I am just checking that it is there already. Now we will exit the remote PowerShell session, okay. Okay, now you will see once I run the command, we will here, this is the partition on this server, okay. Now we need to run or install the DHCP role on the new server. These three lines will do this. The last line will restart the DHCP service, because this is something critical after installing the DHCP role. The restart, it is an essential thing to do to refresh the DHCP role, or to refresh the configuration, or for the service of the DHCP to start, okay. You need to restart it, okay. So now we have these three lines implemented. Then after this finishes, we need to import the configuration, but first of all we will wait for a couple of minutes, because it will take some time to install the DHCP feature on this server. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, okay, it will take some time. Okay, just I'm pausing the video. Now we can see that we have already installed the DHCP feature. It is already installed. It didn't restart, so we need to restart it. So it's now restarting the service. Now we can see here that these lines are saying stop the DHCP service, start the DHCP service, trying to restart the DHCP service. So it successfully started the DHCP service. Now we need to import the configuration from the old server. We will run the line, import all DHCP configuration to the new DHCP server, and after importing it we need to restart the DHCP service. So we will do this one by one, and also verbose, it will give you the importing process, okay, in details, okay. So as you can see here, all of these are done seamlessly, okay. If you try to do this using the graphical interface or the server manager, it will take some time. We need to do a couple of steps, but this is only one script and you can apply it without any problems, and everything will be done from one window, okay. So now it will take some time. We will see here that this is the details of the uh, importing process. Database was backed up, so before importing the configuration is backing up the current configuration of the DHCP. We don't have any configuration yet on this new DHCP server. Importing configuration on server, importing classes, importing a lot of things. So he's importing a lot of options, okay. He's doing a couple of things. We don't need to worry because we don't have any configuration on this DHCP server, so deleting any configuration will not do any harm, okay. We don't have any configuration on it, okay. So now he's importing the scope, importing the value options, okay. He will import also the DNS setting, the router setting, okay. So now the import process is complete. Now we need to restart the service. okay, of the DHCP. Okay, is starting the service. It will take some time. Now the DHCP service is started, and then we need to authorize this DHCP. Okay, if you stop here, we need to authorize this DHCP to uh, issue IP addresses to the clients and servers. Remember that now we have two DHCP servers, the old DHCP server and the new DHCP server. Both are authorized to issue IP addresses. This will not be for long. We are only authorizing the new DHCP server, and then we will stop the old DHCP server, okay, and see if the clients will get their IP addresses from the new DHCP server. So let's wait and see. So now we are running these two lines. As we can see here, we now will enter PowerShell session on the old HTTP server to stop the service and remove the role. So now we are going and again issuing a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server to stop the DHCP service. Okay, this is now we are again on the server. Then we need to stop the old DHCP server, and after that we need to test and see if clients are taking IP from the new DHCP server. This is a very critical point, because after stopping the old DHCP, there will be only one DHCP server, which is the new one, and it is authorized to issue IP addresses and release and lease IP addresses to the clients and servers. Okay, so we need to take care about this point. If it is successful, then we can then remove the DHCP server as a role and as a feature, and as a role and as the console. Also, we will remove the console of the DHCP. Okay, so it is stopping the service. So these are two lines that will remove the DHCP feature and the console that we use to manage this feature. It will take some time. So after that, we need to take a note. Do not forget to restart the old DHCP server to complete the removal of the DHCP role on the old server. Yes, because this requires a restart. Okay, you can do this from the remote PowerShell session by issuing restart computer dash computer name. You can do this from the remote PowerShell session that we are currently on, or go to the server and restart it manually. Okay, so now it is removing the feature. So successfully it is already removed the feature. Start removal. It will take some time. So now both the DHCP server role and the console of the DHCP is removed. Now we can restart the PC. So I will restart the PC from this session. Okay, but take care, the restart will not work unless there is no user logged into this server. Okay, or a user logged into the old DHCP server. It will take some time. When I posted the video, it has already initialized the command and run it on the server, but it didn't work instantly or spontaneously or on the spot. It took some time. Okay, So I am pausing the video, and then you will see that it has already restarted automatically. It will take some time. So when I paused the video, now it is already restarted. Now if you return again to the script, the last thing we need to do is to close this remote PowerShell session, or remove PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. So we will run this command to get remote PowerShell sessions. If there is any, we need to remove it. Okay, so now we have everything now in order. We need to log into the old DHCP server and see if the DHCP is already removed, and we need to check the new DHCP server and see if the services are up and running and everything is working perfectly. So we will wait and we will check everything. So now there is no remote PowerShell sessions. Now we can open and see the new DHCP setting on our server. So we can open the server manager and see the DHCP console and take a view about and to see if the configuration is already imported or not. Okay, so it will take some time. We can pause this real quickly. So we will open the server manager. So we click and then open the server. Here we can see that the DHCP, it is already there. We need to see if it is working. Here I'm just saying some events, or an event saying that certain service is not working. So I'm just checking to see what service is not working. Okay, so I'm pausing the video. Okay, this is Windows kernel power. So this is before starting the server. This is the unexpected shutdown that I was putting in the beginning of the video. Okay, so now we tell him okay, and then we need to see the DHCP service and see if it is working or not, to see the configuration is exported, or sorry, imported successfully or not. So here what I'm doing here I am adding. So if you can through this server manager you can add a remote server and manage it from here. So here for example I am adding the old DHCP server to my server manager, so I can manage the new DHCP server and the old DHCP server from one console, or from the server manager on this new DHCP server. Okay, so we will wait for a couple of seconds. Here this is the old DHCP server. You can add any number of servers remotely, okay, to this server manager. So you can manage the server from the server manager here, the local server and remote servers. Okay, so you will see after I am adding this server, you will see that the WSOS will appear here, but this is the remote WSOS server. Okay, you can see here that the WSOS, all of these are from the remote server. Okay, anyway, we need to see now the DHCP and see if it is working or not. Okay, here if we can get all servers, we have two servers added to the console. This is the remote server and this is the local server. Now we can do anything from here. You can run GPFix, you can see the computer management, you can do anything. Okay, so we go to the dashboard and then we go to tools and see the DHCP. We open the DHCP. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, we can see now that the DHCP, the first note we can take here, that the DHCP service is not started, even though in the PowerShell script I told him to restart the DHCP service. For some reason it was not started automatically. So you just need, if you see this, you can just start the service manually, as I will do now. Okay, So here we can see that the service is not started. Okay, so we can see the red icons here. Okay, and the authorization doesn't appear, but anyway, this is because the DHCP service is not running. So what we will do, this is saying that this already, it is authorized already. So you need to right click. If you see this option, you need to right click and tell him to restart the service. Okay, restart the service. It will take some time, and then we will see the configuration of the server. We will see a lot of things actually. First of all, it's saying that please wait, the HCP service on the server starts. So this is a very critical point. You need to test and see if the DHCP server is working and it is issuing or releasing IP addresses to the clients. Here we can see everything is working. We can see the scope. We can see the server options if you wait for a couple of minutes. Here we can see that the router is there. And another thing, if we just wait for a couple of moments, if we go to the address list, okay, or the scope options, all of the settings are imported. And we will see another thing here, the filter, the allow and deny filters are already enabled, okay, because they were enabled before on the old HCP server. So everything is working, everything is up and running, the HCP service is working, the settings are imported, the scope is imported, everything is working. So now our migration process is complete. We need to uh, go to the old HCP server just to make sure everything is already removed. Just we need to check, okay, and see. You can do this from the server manager here, or you can go to the server uh, locally and log into it and see it, okay. So this is very basic script. We have already done the migration process with the least amount of time. We didn't take much time. If you just calculated it, we didn't take much time. Here I'm just starting the WSOS service because it is not working, and just seeing the log files. Okay, so this is a very good way that you can manage a lot of servers through the server manager. Okay, you can add remote servers to the server manager. And so now I'm just restarting some services, okay, because they are not running or on my remote server, which is sknhq-dc0212. It's not only the old DHCP, but it contains the WSOS and the file server, which we will migrate with Godwill in the upcoming video. Okay, so now everything is working. Let's wait. I think I will stop here, but just make sure that we don't have anything else remaining, so we can go further here. So now what I'm doing here, now I am taking a snapshot. So after everything is working, we will take a snapshot and we will name it before file server migration. So now we are preparing ourselves to migrate the file server. So we have successfully done the migration of the DHCP. Now we will take a snapshot on the 3 virtual machines. We will name it this snapshot before migration of file server. Okay, so we need to close it, and then we'll go to the machine menu and then take a snapshot, and then we name it before file server. Okay, before file server. Okay, so this is the server manager not closed anyway, so this is a normal error. Okay, we need to go to take a snapshot. Okay, next take snapshot before file server migration. Okay, 2, and then we will take a snapshot. Okay, and we will take a snapshot on the old DHCP server, and we'll take a snapshot on the primary domain controller. Okay, so we will take a snapshot. This is the old DHCP server and the additional domain controller and the file server and the WSOS. Now the DHCP is removed from here, okay? So it's only file server, WSOS, additional domain controller, okay? So now we will take a snapshot before the migration, and we will stop, okay, at the minute. Okay, so we'll wait there, and we will stop at minute 25:47 seconds. We will stop there and continue. In the upcoming video, we will begin the migration process of the file server. So this is simply the migration process of the DHCP server. If we go there to the diagram, we can see here that the DHCP, it is already migrated from here to there. We can see that the DHCP is already done here, from here to there. Okay, so hope this video is informative to you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.